Stephen, how are you?
Yeah, very well, Oisin, very well.
Good, good. You came to Sligo earlier today. You were up at the Easter camp. There's a good buzz around there, isn't there?
Yeah. No, it's a vibrant football club, Sligo Rovers. You know, it's great. All of the players coming through the academy into the team in the last couple of years. Johnny Kenny and John Matton, of course, have gone to the UK from here. So it's a big challenge all the time for Sligo, but they've a fantastic club here. And
we'll talk to the Academy manager, Conor O'Grady, in a while. What about you? This is an analysis show, but I'm interested to know how you as a manager and your management team do analysis. How many times do you watch a game back? How many angles do you watch it from? Do you keep the commentators on or off? Obviously on if it's me. Do you have the crowd noise on or off? How do you watch a game back? How do you analyse it?
Yeah, there's various ways. We have the analysis room in Abbottstown in headquarters, which we just put in, which is a couple of offices that we sort of reconfigured into an analysis room and over the last year. So we've the tactical angle really of all the games. So even all of the games in England, a lot of them we have the tactical angle. So we can we can get an overview of the whole pitch. We can get from behind the goal and look at it from behind the goal to look at it depending on what player's playing and what position they're playing in. Or we can just have the normal Y Scout angle, which is just the TV angle. In relation to commentary, sometimes with Y Scout, it could be in any language, so you're not guaranteed. In relation to our own games, we watch them several times, of course, through different angles. And myself and Keith Andrews, Keith is terrific, a great analyst himself, and watches the stuff. Stephen Rice as well in the analysis room. They watch it. Dean Kiley watches the stuff as well. So we have meetings with all the staff, and we watch them individually and then collectively and go through everything.
And do you kind of know what you're looking for when you watch a game from a particular angle? Like, for example, if you say, right, I'm going to watch this game from the behind the goal angle, are you looking for something specific tactically or from different players, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's just good to get a different perspective. The tactical angle, really, the one from the side, which gives an overview of the full pitch, that gives you if you want to watch a system of play against a system of play, for example, if you're watching 4-3-3 against 3-4-2-1, you get a full picture of everyone's position, how they relate to the opposition, and it's good. It's no matter what the tactical challenges is, you get a complete overview that you don't get on TV. When you watch a match on TV, you just see when the ball's in play to the player that's relative to, you don't get the full picture, and so it's good to see that.
So when you're going to watch a player in England or Ireland or Scotland or wherever it is, what are the differences between seeing them live and then seeing them back on the kind of tactical cameras?
It's just great to get a picture of the live games. You get a feeling for the game itself. You get to see the game. You get to see the player in the context of the game, and there's so many variables. And so there's nothing beats seeing players live.
And when you watch a game back, do you ever spot something that you didn't see live? And does it ever kind of change your view of a game, be it a game that you were a manager in, be it a Republic of Ireland game, or a game that one of your players is playing in for their club?
Yeah, you're not going to spot everything, and certainly it's good to review the game and look at stuff again and from a different perspective. And you're right on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of players who played under you who are now in management themselves and coaching. I'm going to name some. I probably won't capture them all. Rory Higgins in Derry, Stephen O'Donnell in Dundalk, Paddy McLaughlin with Cliftonville. They're challenging for the league title at the moment. There are others as well. Conor O'Grady is around here tonight. He's doing a bit of coaching. Vinnie Perth obviously went on to win a league with Dundalk and played under you at Longford. With all of these guys, did you kind of spot when they were playing for you that they were going to go on and be coaches / managers?
Absolutely none of them. No, I think I've had the pleasure of all those people playing for me, and I think some of them have joined my staff then as part of the coaching team at different clubs, and it's great to see them spread their own wings and go and manage themselves, and it's great to see it because they have their own identity, and there really is a great culture of good managers now in the league, good young managers coming through, and it's changing the outlook. And that's not to say it's wrong to say young, because of course Liam Buckley is manager of Sligo, and I think he's the only one older than me, so I can say that. But Liam has been a terrific manager for a long period of time, been very successful, and has always had a great philosophy on the game and a great way of playing. And regardless of the system, it's the way of playing, and that's why he's stood the test of time. And I'm sure he's had a good couple of seasons with Sligo, lost a few good players this year, and I'm sure they'll go on again. But you're right, Rudy Higgins' first full year at Derry. Done very well. Obviously, I know Rudy a long time. Signed him as a 20-year-old player. Signed him for Dundalk. He played in the last, when our first league title, he played in the game against Cork, the decider. I let him go then, or he moved on.
Yeah.
But he understood that's the harsh reality of the game. You know, he understood that.
Is that the hardest thing about management? Not picking players or letting them go?
It is very difficult, because particularly in where we are, and as a manager, we know it's not like at the highest level, because where people are financially set up anyway. You know, you're taking their livelihoods from them, and you're putting them in maybe a precarious financial situation. So all of that has to be taken into account. But you can never ever make a decision based on sentiment.
Yeah.
You can never make sentimental decisions. But Rudy went on then to join my coaching team then at Dundalk, and it was terrific. And he's gone his own way with Derry now, and he's doing excellent. Stephen O'Donnell, inspirational captain at Dundalk, and had a great playing career, and he obviously won the Cup with St Pat's last year. Now he's gone to Dundalk. Brilliant leader. So the two of those are terrific. Vinnie Perth will come back. He was played for me at Longford. He was a great assistant at Dundalk. Was terrific. Went on and won the league himself in his own right, and was, in the end, was moved on. But he'll come back, and he'll be a better manager for it, and he'll come strong again. It's great to see. You mentioned Paddy in Cliftonville. Great to see him doing well. He's had a long route after starting with Institute, up to north in Derry, and so there's plenty. Stephen Glass played for me at Dunfermline and coached as well with me, and he was just at Aberdeen. He just finished up at Aberdeen, but so there's been plenty of guys, all right, and it's great to see them find their own way. And we have some guys in the Irish international team who could become coaches in the future.
Yeah.
I would say the one that would look to me to be an analytical person who I feel would probably go into coaching in the future. I know a lot of them would be determined to do it, and it's hard, but it's like Conor Houraghan. I see him as someone who could go on and become a coach. It's not always the skipper who bangs the table, or the centre half who's inspired that goes on to become, it's sometimes the real thinkers of the game and how they see it. And someone like Houraghan could go on and become Conor would go on and be a good manager in the future.
When you say he's a thinker of the game, what do you mean by that? Do you see that on the pitch? Do you hear that when you talk to him? What do you mean by that?
I don't just mean him. He's just one person. I'm embarrassing him probably, and other players saying, why is he picking him over him? But I think it's just someone who's interested in coaching and is taking his badges, and as some of them are, Seamus Coleman, for example, taking his badges as well, and James McLean and people like that are taking their badges. So it's part of the players towards the latter ends of their career sometimes take their badges. I think Conor's just someone who views the game through analytical eyes, and just the way he thinks about the game and strategically and thinks about it tactically.
You mentioned him there, and as he is kind of this parish, he played here obviously, Seamus Coleman, how good a leader is he? How good a guy is he? Is he the kind of guy that every manager wants around the team, wants around the squad? Well,
he's been a brilliant captain for Ireland and for Everton, and there's no doubt about that for such a long period. And he's revered in Ireland. He's the second best right back in Sligo after Alan Keane, I think, isn't he? Well, I think certainly he's had a tremendous career with Ireland, and I still think that he has quite a few years left in him. I don't think he's tactically we've gone and played in different positions. He's played in a back three for me, right of a back three recently, and he's been excellent in that position. And of course, he's in Faro in Portugal. He played as a wing back and did very well. So he can play in a few positions, and I'd still see him as a very important part of our squad over the next couple of years.
Yeah. We were talking about Paddy McLaughlin and Stephen O'Donnell and Rory Higgins. Is it particularly pleasing to you that they, as managers, are all in charge of teams that play really, really good football? I appreciate the audience here mightn't have seen a whole pile of Cliftonville. I have, and they play very good football. Derry the same, Dundalk the same.
Yeah, and listen, it's not just the managers right throughout the league. Stephen Bradley at Shamrock Rovers, for example, a very talented manager after winning a couple of leagues already at such a young age. Right throughout the league, and obviously Tim Clancy's coming in at St Pat's doing well. Damien Duff coming in at Shelbourne, he's going to make his mark, I'm sure. One of our most successful players ever, and he'll be keen to make his mark. And right throughout, it's you could go invariably leave people out. But right throughout the league, there certainly is Keith Long, of course, who's done terrifically well at Bows last year in Europe. They were a joy to watch in the games in the Aviva, and of course he's probably in that cycle. A little bit was happened to Liam Buckley, where you build a team and you lose your best couple of players, and that's happened Keith the last few years, where he keeps losing his best players because they're developing well, and they move to the UK or wherever, and that's or further afield, and that's what happens. You've seen in the first division as well, Cork City, who I think have massive potential as a club, and really have huge potential. It's great to see Colin Healy. I've seen Colin was part of Tom Moan's under 19 coaching team. So I spent 10 days in Armenia, of all places, where we go back this year. It's for the under 19 European Championships, and Colin Healy was part of Tom Moan's coaching team, and what a brilliant guy. And now he's managing Cork, and he could be a great manager in the future for Cork. And what a brilliant to have an ex-player like that who's come through and coached there. Now he's manager, and we wish Colin all the best with that. Galway, obviously a vibrant. I'm waiting for the booze. Or Galway, the vibrant. Of course, just the derby here. I'm not sure what is it. Sligo, Galway, the derby, or Sligo,
is it Galway, or is it Finn Harps is the derby here?
Finn Harps definitely the derby. Yeah. So Finn Harps is the derby without doubt. But John Caulfield gone down there to Galway to rejuvenate the club, and I'm sure they'll give it a right go in relation to with the new ownership and so forth that they have, and the facilities that they have there. Will be keen to do well, and Cork and Waterford, of course, under Ian Morris, who won the league, of course, last year. And that's the harsh reality, to win a league and lose your job. So football can be so cruel. So he's gone to Waterford to rebuild his career, and they'll be looking to do well also. So there's managers right throughout the country.
Yeah. And how pleasing for you as a manager is it that in the League of Ireland, as you've already mentioned, there's a lot of teams playing good football, and maybe that helps the development of players, but also it grows the product. And Tommy Higgins, the chairman of Sligo Rovers, who is here tonight, wrote in his programme notes at the weekend that it's not just because we're out of a lockdown the crowds are growing, it's because the product is very, very good.
Yeah, I think that when you go and look at various, even in down the division sometimes in England, the coaching here there's a clear identity emerging with all the coaches, and it's very much a passing game, which we were told traditionally it's not in our DNA for Irish players to play, that we couldn't build from the back, that we shouldn't build, that we're not capable of doing that.
Again, that's just Keno.
But like we were saying in Europe, and I was mentioning Dundalk in Europe, and people were saying you can't do that, you can't play the top teams, you can't build up, you can't play out because we're not good enough, or we have to play in a low block, or we can't press teams high and so forth. So and we're been told all the time what we can't do, and I think the new breed of managers are quite brave and very open the way they set up, and they're a credit to themselves. And I think it's great to see. I think the change of summer soccer means that the weather helps that in the winter football with where we don't have the stadiums with the undersoil heating that they can take the level of matches that you need in the winter sometimes. So with the summer football, the pitches are all in reasonable nick, and the absence of wind and matches in air open stadiums is important. So it allowed skillful players to really emerge, and to build from the back and do all that. Where in the middle of winter in high winds on bad pitches you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it. So it allows skillful players to really come to the fore, and that's what I would say. So it's good that a lot of the managers now have really taken on that and really have their own nuances and their own styles and their own ways of doing things, their own individuality, and they can imprint that on their teams.
You've been part of some wonderful League of Ireland stories, Longford and Dundalk, and I remember my first big League of Ireland game was the FAI Cup final against Bohemians. Now I know you lost, but it was a great occasion for the town, and they were able to build on it. And Dundalk, obviously, you did what you did there in Europe and all that. But I want to talk about Derry City, right. And when you met PSG and almost beat them. Talk to me about that time, because that was a phenomenal achievement.
Well, yeah, it's I know the Irish women are playing in Sweden, and it's in the match in Gothenburg, is it?
That's right.
Yeah, so that's where we played Gothenburg in the first round. Gothenburg had 3 players that had played for Sweden in the World Cup that year against England, drew with England in the group, and obviously Nicholas Alexanderson and Pontus Wernbloom, different players that played in with top clubs. They had Gothenburg were a serious club. They'd won the UEFA Cup twice, and of course we played them home and away, and we beat them home and away. And that year, which was really a big surprise at the time, and so we went to play.
Most people they were on the first televised Champions League match.
Yeah.
So imprinted in my head at the time was, they're a Champions League team.
Yeah,
but you went and did what
they're
you did.
A serious club, and at that time even more so. And so to beat them was home and away. Showed the quality of the team, and we did a mixture. We 5 21-year-old under 21 midfielders at the time, and we had some experienced players as well. Peter Hutton was the skipper, and we played Gretna then. They were the Scottish Cup representatives, and we played them. And of course, in Motherwell, we brought 5,000 people. Got the boat to from Larne to Stranraer, and come up and we filled Motherwell, which is where the match was played, and we won 5-1, which was at the time live on Sky, and it was a big shock. And it's probably how I ended up in Scotland at the time, and that's how we won the following year. But the goals were amazing. Kieran Martin, a Sligo man, got two great goals. Brilliant player from. I don't think he ever played with Sligo, Kieran, did he? But what a player Kieran Martin was. Great player. And Kevin Deardy got the other 2 that day, and Darren Kelly. So we won that game 7-3 on aggregate, and then played Paris Saint-Germain. You're right. I went to see PSG Marseille the week before. Great game. Marseille had Sami Nasri and playing at the time, and Frank Ribery. Wow. They were serious players for Marseille, and PSG. Marseille were the top team. PSG was second. They were pushing, and PSG were an unbelievable club. Only one club in Paris. Like so many clubs in London. You think about how many clubs are in London. There's actually only one club in Paris, and it's amazing. The one club city. So much passion for it at the time. It wasn't owned that time by the owners. Now it was owned by French owners, and it was just tremendous passion for the club. And the match was in the Parc des Princes. We played them in the Brandywell first leg, 2-0. We had a right go. Killian Brennan hit the bar. Kevin McHugh was taken down for a penalty that wasn't given with 6 minutes to go, and which was a cast iron one, and it was then we take two off the line ourselves. It was end to end and 0-0, and we went over there to PSG, and Paulinho Paletta, who had he was Portugal's all-time top scorer before Ronaldo. He had more goals for Portugal than Eusebio. Paletta, yeah. So he was their centre forward at the time, and he scored again. They were too good for us. They beat us 2-0 and that was to get into the group. That was to get into the group at the time. But they were very good, and they were deserved winners against us 2-0 in the Parc des Princes.
Yeah, and that must.
But we brought such an amazing crowd to Paris. It was unbelievable, and it was new at the time because BBC Northern Ireland, UTV Northern Ireland, who hadn't really followed Derry that much, or it was a bit of a. But all of a sudden, crowds at airports. We were flying in from Eglinton and Derry, flying out, and crowds at airports and coming to meet the team, and TV crews following. That was new for the League of Ireland at the time, players and people getting on understanding. It was great for the players. It was a great experience for the players.
Yeah. Do you get how important you have been for a lot of the towns that you've worked in? Derry, Dundalk, Longford. You left a lasting legacy in all of these places. That must be something that you're very, very pleased with.
I don't really look at it like that. Like, I think it's I'm very lucky to be able to manage those clubs, and a lot of great people, and I was just one person at the time working at it. But they're great clubs to manage, and at different stages in their history, and it was fantastic periods that I look back on fondly.
Yeah. Your programme notes, they're outstanding, and they're not always about football. Where do you get the inspiration?
Some might disagree with your interpretation of it outstanding, but I think
when I was a Cork City fan, yes, I did disagree.
I don't. Editors will testify, they're not always in on time, so I don't like writing them too early, because I like them to be relevant to the match itself. I'd never write them a week in advance, or even so. Yeah, go to a coffee shop and have a cup of coffee and try and write them if I can. With the FAI, I find it difficult because with printing deadlines, you have to write articles well in advance sometimes, and so I find it for the international team, it's where more when you're at a club you can be more topical, and maybe you can write differently as well, and I think that's so it's you certainly with it's difficult to write if you've got to write well in advance. I'm sure you know that yourself as a journalist, and certainly that's what I found. So you just try and relate it to the matches, events. I don't know. I don't have a script, or I don't have an agenda. I write whatever I feel is relevant at the time.
Just before I let you go, some big games coming up. You must have taken an awful lot out of the most recent block of games. A great draw against Belgium, Chidozie Ogbene with a spectacular goal, and against Lithuania, he found a way to win, which is really, really important.
Well, just the passion in the ground, just amazing in the games, and when just the Belgian game was incredible atmosphere. And we found that in the games against Serbia, when we could only have half full, 25,000, and then we seen against Portugal the passion in the ground, and it was just really special to push Portugal the way we did, one of the top teams in the world, and it was just a great atmosphere in those games. Then to play Belgium, the world #1 team. I know they're missing a few, but certainly so were we, and we certainly 2-2. It was a match that was a tremendous occasion. Anyone who went, and the passion, the crowd, and then the passion for Lithuania, which wasn't a classic. They played in a low block. We made a lot of changes, and we were having a look at certain stuff. But we scored 4 goals that were disallowed, correctly disallowed. But it was just there's fine margins. You don't always realise that at the time, but it's so to get the goal, Troy Parrott to score the goals, first goal at home, was special in the 97 minutes. So it was good to win it, and it keeps one defeat, just that Ronaldo goal in 12 matches. We played a lot of good teams. Played Portugal twice, Serbia, Belgium, Hungary in those games, and we're going well. The players have all come through, all got matches under their belt. We've Nations League games in June, really tough matches, Ukraine and Scotland, Armenia in the group. So great games, and it's a brilliant feeling on the ground around the country about the team. They can really relate to the way the team is playing. They're excited by the team, and the players are excited by the spirit within the squad, and with the influx of the young players is reinvigorated some of the experienced players, and there's a good balance.
Stephen, we could talk to you all evening, but I'm afraid that's where we have to wrap it up. Thank you very much for calling into us here at our special outside broadcaster roadshow of the LOI Show here in Sligo. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Kenny. And thank you very much to Stephen for his time.